Hello, and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin with the Modern Observer Group. And with me, as always, is Chip Janiszewski from the Happiness and Success GPS. Chip, how you doing this week?
I am doing great, Eric. How about you?
I am doing excellent. And it's actually kind of a big week here at the Modern Observer Group because we are kicking off our year-end challenge. And I want to tell our listeners a little bit about this because I want every one of them involved. Right now, there is an epidemic of people who are feeling disconnected and alone. We're seeing articles about this every day. It started during the pandemic, and unfortunately, it didn't get any better. So there's still people suffering from this. So we are launching our year end challenge. And what we want everybody to do is between now and December 31st to call, email, or text 30 people that they know and let them know you are thinking about them, you care about them, and they are not alone.
Mm-hmm. That
And
sounds
we
that sounds wonderful. That really does. It is
yeah,
so important. Obviously, people always need people, but never more so than after the last few years. So, and especially with everything that's going on and everything that we're barraged with every single day through the media and that kind of thing. So, I mean, the world is not a perfect place, but that doesn't mean that we can't be perfect to other people.
right, reach out to folks, let them know you're thinking about them. And of course, during the holiday season, there's always people who get depressed. The more people we can get to reach out, the more people that we can tell you care, you're there for them. Every little bit makes a difference, and that's what we're hoping to accomplish. And speaking of accomplishments, we have our special guest this week who has accomplished quite a lot. Maria Rose is celebrating her 21st birthday today.
Yes, I
Uh,
am.
She's a math major.
yeah.
That's right.
And we are so glad to have you here, Maria.
Thank you. It is awesome to be here. Thanks for having me, come on. Yes, it's my life has been very exciting up to this point.
You've got several businesses going on. Well, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, so I'm Maria. I mean, I'm here in Connecticut. I've been an entrepreneur most of my life. And I kind of just did that by accident. Who knows what they want to do when they're little, right? But I could start with this. When I was very young, I remember laying down in the grass and I was looking up at the sky and I could see the clouds, forming their formations. And I was loving every second of it. It was summer, the sun. And, I knew like right then that I just wanted to be my own boss. I always wanted time. I wanted time was the most important thing to me from that point forward. My dad worked his butt off. My mom was able to be home with me growing up. Those were the times, I was so grateful for that. But I just realized that I didn't want to work like he did all of my life. And then when I can, enjoy it, I was half my life was going to be over, right? I was going to be young. I wanted to do this all the time. So I was determined to find a way to do it. Um, and I wanted to be a mom. So that was how my life started. How did it end up? Well, I did get married young. I got 2 kids. I got 3 kids now. I mean, I have 3. I have my first grandson who's here with us today, which you can't see. And as soon as my daughter told me that, she was ready to have a baby, I was like, okay, well, I yet need another stream of income. So my background in entrepreneurship is my first business at 22 and 23 was with my first husband. We had an auto body shop, and that lasted over 30 years. He actually just closed it this year. And I went to, I, after, well, we didn't last obviously, but I went to school. I'm a registered dietitian. So I was doing that and I was involved in the community and in long-term care. My husband now, he has a media production company. So I started working with him. And I liked doing that. And I liked the travel and all the kind of freedom, to have your own business. Um, And yeah, so when my daughter said I'm pregnant, I said, "Oh, okay, I got to do something else." And yes, and COVID happened too, right? And so video production was zero for almost 2 years, just no work at all. So I do have another business brokering services and things, and that didn't slow down during that time, thank goodness. But yeah, I decided to go ahead and do what everybody said, start my sauce company. So now I born was Maria Rose Authentic Italian, and I have a vodka sauce. So that's a long way around to that.
No, and you also have another side to you too that you're very, very much into with your husband, and that is music.
Music, I love music. Yes, I've been after all of these years. I have been taking some voice lessons. I'm taking a guitar up again, just trying to, nurture the creative side. My parents were all about business, so I was always business. But, being able to play guitar, do a little bit of singing is is really great.
No, and he has his own band and plays a lot and so on and so forth. So you get to
Oh, my
enjoy
husband does,
watching him and hopefully going up there and doing the show, singing with them and that kind of thing too.
yeah. Yes, that would be good to do. That is the dream. So we're gonna go. We're working on it. So we will. So yes, my husband's a musician. He's been a musician for years, many, many years. Yeah, a lot of years.
That's great. And I love what you said at the beginning because it reminded me of an old saying, you can always make more money, but you can't make more time.
That's very true. You can't. You can't. I mean, I'm lucky that I learned that then. Not to mention, like, I was born the youngest to my parents were older than the average parent at that age. My dad was 40 when he had me. So, I was determined to, like, no, I just wanted to have freedom. Freedom of time was very important.
And that's allowed you to spend time with your kids. And now your grandchild, who's what, 4 months, you said?
4 months, yeah. I get to babysit 3 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It definitely changed a bunch of stuff, but hey, I can't say no to this face.
There
No,
you go.
and that's probably the most fun job you've ever had.
I know it. I know. It's so great. It's
Yeah,
so
Chip is always talking about his grandchildren.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
little Cora is going to be 3 years old on December 9th.
I remember Chip when she was just born.
Yep. I do.
Yeah. You're expecting. You're expecting to.
Yes.
Yes.
She was born just before COVID too. I mean, within a couple of months, everything was shut down. In fact, my daughter-in-law, she's a CPA for Colgate, and she was on maternity leave before that, working out of the house. And she was working out of the house. They live down in Manhattan. Now they live in Stanford, but she's been working out of the house ever since then and just got off of maternity leave with Luca. And so it's the first time that she's had to go in, but only like a couple days every 2 weeks to Manhattan. So um,
Wow.
she was working out of home for a long, long time, and which is a blessing because Cora got to grow up with both of her parents because Billy was teaching too. So
Yeah.
he
It is.
but it was
It is. I think that the world like has come to such it's the world we live in today isn't the one that I grew up in, right? I had well, it's kind of like my sauce says, right? I had Sunday every week with my aunt. We had Sunday dinner. We had spaghetti and meatballs, and her sauce that she made from scratch, and it was just and that my mom could beat me. She taught me how to ride my bike, and today there's just so many people that can't be home with their kids anymore because the economy is what it is, and you really have to two people really have to work.
yeah.
I think it's been really hard on families to keep those traditions as to what they once were now. And that was like one of the things about the sauce that I made is I wanted it to be the same one that I grew up with. I wanted it to have, the nourishment that it does, not a lot of processed stuff, something that they can open a jar and just be proud that we can, you can have the family dinner the way I did with
Yeah.
fresh.
But with the dietitian background, so it's good for you too.
Yeah, yeah. I don't add salt. There's salt in some of the tomatoes. It's the only reason why salt is in there in the first place. I don't add no cheese, and I don't put sugar in my sauce either. There is heavy cream.
Yeah.
So you got to make it.
And things are going very well for you. You just launched this within the last year or so, at least in the networking world.
I did it within 5 months. So
Yeah,
in December it was an idea. In May I had I think over 600 jars.
yeah. And I remember you brought myself and another networking friend of ours a jar to
Yeah.
the networking meeting that one Friday morning, and I said,
Yeah.
I got to show this to Rocio over at Avon Prime Meats and all this other stuff. It's great.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
And it is fantastic. And you were saying you don't add any sugar. Most people don't realize how rare that is. A
Hmm.
lot of people don't know this, but I grew up with hypoglycemia.
Oh,
So for several years, I was on a virtually completely sugar-free diet to get that under control.
yeah.
And at the time, this is going back, almost 40 years. And at the time, there was only one sauce on the market that did not have added sugar in it.
Really?
And that was the only one I could eat. And it wasn't great. It was.
Wow.
And in fact, I mean, now people take things like this for granted. But back then, I remember the ice cream. The only ice cream I could have was Sweet and Low brand ice cream.
They had that?
They had that, and it was just as terrible as it sounds.
Oh my
So
gosh.
the fact that you can now get sauces that are nutritious but still taste great, people take that for granted, but it's not easy to do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's true. Yep. I didn't even I mean growing up added sugar and sauce I thought was like that was rare. I thought that was rare. I was like
Well,
nobody
for a homemade sauce, it was rare, but for packaged, it was very common.
yeah. Wow. Yeah, I would not know. Hmm.
And now you've brought the two together, so you're using the old homemade recipe into a sauce that can be purchased at stores,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're bringing that Sunday dinner to folks that are so busy they don't have time or sometimes the knowledge to make their own sauce. So
Right.
this helps them out.
It does. It does. And I was excited. I shipped it to I have a big mastermind like across the country, Hawaii, some friends of mine. They tried it and his her husband is Sicilian and he tried it and he said, "Oh my god, I never thought I could get something this good out of a jar." And that I was like, "Yay, thank you." 'Cause, you're like truly all about it. You're from the land, from the country,
Right.
and you're giving me that kind of accolade. So yay. So
That's your validation.
yeah, that was it.
That
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
And I do tastings too. I do them at Avon Prime Meats. I do them. I did at Old Weathersfield Country Store, which is great. And I'm about to do one at Tangiers here in West Hartford. Hall's Market, I haven't yet. They're kind of a smaller store. I don't know where I would set up, but
That's a nice place, though.
yeah, so I'm gonna try to do that too. And then I would love to find a restaurant if there's that might want to use a sauce if they don't if they don't have their own already.
Yeah, that would be
Fantastic.
great. So, I mean, you're doing obviously all the tastings and stuff like that around here, but you do have a website and people can buy that. Are you getting a lot of orders from outside of the state, and are you working your way out? I'm sure with your entrepreneurial mindset, you have
Yeah.
plans for that if you're not doing so already. So,
Yeah, I was shipping it like across the country. There was Florida, Kansas, Hawaii, California. Um, I can't remember the other places. I can't remember the other. I've been, shipping it throughout the country so far. So far, so good. It's been great. Yeah.
Excellent. I mean, the growth is phenomenal. As you said, you went 5 months from concept to having sauces in stores. You've been reaching out to local stores. Your networking has been helping, but what's been the biggest challenge you've had?
Okay, the biggest challenge for me is actually like I love doing tastings and all of that, but just to social media, I think marketing is social media, keeping it top of mind so that people know like here it is, you can get it. Like I have done some chamber like giving away some baskets, right, for some of the, but then just keeping it where people could remember that it's there.
Yep.
Um, yeah, that's been the biggest challenge for me because I have, a couple of other businesses, and just trying to keep it all together has been the struggle. But I went through my first batch. I just made another batch of more jars, 1,200 more.
No,
So
that's great.
I need to get
And
on
with your
that.
contacts and your other businesses, they know about it too. So I'm sure that that's probably helped as far as getting the word out and getting the distribution out too.
Yep. Yes, definitely. Definitely.
This
And
networking stuff works.
it does. And I love doing
Yes.
tastings too. Like I love, love, love that so much. I love people. I love to, interact with them and, try this and see what their reactions are. So far it's all been
Well,
good.
tastings work. I mean, that's why Costco always has their samples out, Sam's Club, all these stores,
Yeah.
they're giving away samples so you know what they have. It
Yeah.
works.
It works. It does. It does. Yep. It's the and I'm actually on the label. And I thought then for my kids, they can just always remember me like that. young, the young Maria.
Yeah, there'll be one sauce jar of sauce that they'll never ever open, and
Yeah,
they'll
that's right.
Right.
your grandson's kids. There you go.
That's right. There you go. This is your well, I call myself Mia instead of grandma, but this is her.
So
When
now
he's old enough to talk.
you mentioned that you have another business selling services.
Yes.
You've got the sauces. You've got your grandchildren that you're babysitting for.
Hmm.
How do you manage your time?
Oh, and yeah, and my husband's the media production business too.
You
Yeah, how do I manage my time? I don't know. I say that, I ask myself that at the end of the week every week, but
know,
no, I just you have to be somewhat organized. I can't say that I'm always that, but yes, I have like around me right now, which you can't see, are categories of the different businesses, so I can go into each one, whatever I need to do for the day. I I do what I need to do. Um, it's it's a work in progress. I'm always trying to fine tune. How do I keep track of everything? My calendar. If it's not in my calendar, it's not going to get done. Um, it's really important, to have the calendar. Like I love
yeah,
having, like I was saying, I wanted time to be my own, right? That was the whole thing.
yes.
But then when but it's true what they say. If you're doing what you love, it's not like work at all. I mean, I got a call from a guy I never knew. I didn't know him till yesterday. He called me on a Sunday. And he goes, "I apologize for calling you on a Sunday." And I'm like, "No problem. No problem at all." Because, every, you know, e- not, I'm going to say every day is Sunday, but like, I'm here anyway. It doesn't matter what day. I said, actually, this is probably the best day because I can actually talk to you and not be distracted with anything else, right?
Sure.
Yeah. I said,
And
call me Sunday. I'm
I
good.
do understand what you're saying about the calendar because I have a to-do list program and if something doesn't get on the to-do list, it doesn't get done.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And being able to work here, I mean, when the pandemic happened, what happened? Zoom happened, right? So it
Yes.
made everything even more simple. And and being able to help my daughter, my mom helped me with my kids growing up. So just being able to be here and help them, it means everything, being able to give back like that.
Oh, sure. Being able to spend time with family. I mean, realistically, that's why most of us work. It's to be able to provide things for our family. And
Hmm.
if you're spending all your time at work and not spending time with your family, it
Yeah,
sort of misses the point.
that's right. That's right. It does. It does. And I have there's some, do you believe in all the manifestations when you
Sure.
really think about something that you want? And one of the things that I have a dream about is to have an animal shelter, right? That has little boutiques and shops and dinner and restaurants and all kinds of things where people can go. It's a climate controlled place, just a lot similar to, I went to a place in Dallas once that it was called the Gaylord Resort. So it's a hotel, but it's all climate controlled. You think you're outside, but you're not. And that's what I want for, because the animals will never be able to go anywhere, right? They can't get out but they think they're outside because you feel like you're outside. And they have all these restaurants and dinner places, in boutiques and coffee shops, like percentage to go to keep it in operation. So the thing is, this is the thing that I was thinking about. My husband was on a flight. He said somebody's showed him something. It's in California. It's something very, very similar, where the dogs are out. It's a daycare. There's rivers and streams, and they run, and it was exactly like, it was even better than what I thought. And I'm like, wow, look at that. That just came right into my house.
Fantastic. So you found it. Now you've got a model to follow.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that you can put it together too, especially with your drive, what you want to do, and all the people that you would definitely would want to help you out with this. I mean, obviously, that's something I'm sure Eric is just feels the same way I do. That sounds absolutely fantastic. Something we'd never thought of before, but
Yeah.
it's logical. And think of what that would do for the world and the people who are there, and so on and so forth. As far as you know,
Hmm.
getting away from things for a little while and concentrating more on just enjoying what you have right around you.
Yeah. Like, businesses for a cause, save the animals. I love
Yep.
them.
Well, and let's bring this around because that's not a concept you're unfamiliar with. Your other business where you're selling services
Mhm.
also benefits Feeding America. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I broker services with, like, I have partnerships with companies like AT&T and T-Mobile. I have identity theft protection. We also can offer things like gas, electricity, security systems through Vivint. So these are companies that right? T-Mobile, AT&T. One you might not know is Impact Health Sharing. So health sharing is the one that I'd love to talk about even more. And anytime someone becomes a customer through these services through me, we're helping feed a child every single month. So when you pay your bill, a portion, something, not a portion of your bill, but the company is donating a meal to a child with every service. So that's a phenomenal thing. But to talk about the impact health sharing a little bit, as a business owner, the first thing I realized was health insurance was one of the most expensive things that I could
Yes.
possibly pay. And being a dietitian and being in the world of nursing and doctors and all of that, I realized how broken it is and how they're denying and delaying claims. And I was like, when I go to the doctor and he'd recommend something, and then the insurance company was like, no, you can't have that. And I'm like, when did you become the doctor? So impact health sharing itself has been around for decades in ministries, and they were limited, but now it's available to the public, and we're one of the first companies to bring this out. And it's impact health sharing, and this is not just for individuals, but it's businesses too, or anybody that's responsible for paying their own insurance. You can go to any doctor you want. It crosses state lines, so you can be anywhere. We're going to save, like, you'll save 50% or more, and we're going to reprice and discount everything as to what it should be, what you should be paying when you go to the doctor. And it's members helping members. So everybody,
Fantastic.
yeah, everybody puts a little bit in, and there's an upper limit too. So there's a lot of benefits to this, and it's along the same lines as when Uber first came out. Did you ever think that you get into a car with a stranger? Be like, no, concept bad, right?
Right. That was, we were all brought up saying never get into a car with a stranger. And now
Yeah.
now we do it without thinking.
Right, exactly. Or Airbnb. Do you really want to stay at someone's house? Hotels, right? Hotels is where it's at. But there's Airbnb. And now we have health sharing. So, I've been out there just educating people on what it is and how it could really benefit them. There's been one business owner in particular saved $600,000 a year. Now
Wow.
for his employees, what that meant is his employees can keep more of their paychecks, because anybody that got on because of the savings, he said, I will cover your health care.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, because of your business model, you've helped so many people get into the business also.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yes.
sharing in the dreams because of you too, which obviously has to make you feel really, really good about what's,
So rewarding.
giving.
Yes. So rewarding, right? Yes. When you can help others. I know Jim Rohn, I follow him too, one of the mentors, right? Help enough people get what they want, and you'll get what you want. So it's passion. I'm passionate about that. Yep.
And that's what pushes you along. I mean, you've accomplished so much. You
Mm-hmm.
can't do that without that motivation, without that passion.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's true. You know, what drives you, I have 3 kids, and I was a single mom for a while, thinking that, the American dream was the picket fence and the business, and we had our kids and everything was going to be great. And then it all fell apart. That was, you had to start over. And then what drives you is what I couldn't give my kids. I will never stop,
Yes.
trying to give them for the rest of their lives, the rest of my life, what I couldn't when they were little, you know. Uh,
And that's a very common story now. Everybody grew up thinking we were all supposed to do one particular thing.
mm-hmm.
And then that goes away, and you have to go, all right, so where do I go from here? And that's always the question you have to keep asking is, what's next? Where do you go from here?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So before we wrap up, that's the question I will ask you. Where does Maria Rose go from here?
Where do I go from here? Well, everything that I was talking about, it's a work in progress. I will be a never-ending work in progress. Every time something, happens, I will take the next step. If there's an obstacle, I'll find my way around it. There's always a way. Never let anything stop you. You have to just stand back, just wait a minute, and think about it, right? Just slow down just for a second, and you will find your way through any obstacle. And anyone can do anything, especially if you have, especially when you have people that help you. But obviously, I didn't start off that way, so I kind of had to find my own way, right? You got to have some desire, and just keep pushing forward. I mean, I graduated. Well, there's another topic too, but I graduated from college. When I was going to college, my mom really wanted me to go, which is why I ended up as a dietitian. And in the middle of my junior year, she ended up with Alzheimer's. And she said, I just want you to hurry up and graduate before I forget. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
I was working day and night, single mom, 2 kids. She couldn't babysit for me anymore, yet I had this community of people that helped me with the kids, and I was able to graduate and just have the gratitude that, oh my gosh, I was able to do this and do this for her, right, too. So she was there. She was there with her nurse, but she was at my graduation like she wanted to be. Um, just you can't ever do it all on your own, right? You have to find your tribe, they call that, right? You try to find your people that will help you and support you, and then you support them back, and then you just continue to grow and grow and grow and read and read and read, and just keep getting better. It's what I know, Chip. I hear him all the time. The 4 Ps. It's
yep.
you have to. You choose to be happy. You have to choose that. There's the only thing you can rely on in this life is that nothing is ever going to go as it's planned. So you always need a backup plan, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the only thing you can count on is things are going to go wrong. And taxes.
And we are just about out of time. So before we wrap up, if somebody wants to go online and order some of your vodka sauce, how can they do so?
MariaRoseAuthenticItalian.com. That is my website. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for being with us this week.
Thank
And
you.
Chip, what do you think is the big takeaway from Maria's talk?
I think she's ready to do my presentations for me. Purpose, passion, positivity, and the last P is plan. And she's had that based upon what she's wanted to do for her whole life. And most people, you both have heard me talk about the land of Sameville, which is just getting up every day and letting the outside world that you have no control over run your life. And you decided a long time ago to do something about it. And you're following your passion and love what you're doing and bringing a lot of other people along for the ride. And it can be done. And you're exhibit A. And so the bottom line is, yes, happiness is a choice. Life is always going to be ups and downs, but if you choose happiness this moment, knowing that you might have it down the next moment, just be aware of that fact. And it's so wonderful to have somebody who's been living that for so many years as our guest.
Oh,
Good friend Maria.
thank you. Thank you guys so much. I look forward to seeing you soon.
I think for me, the big takeaway is one thing that Maria said, that you can do anything. If more people followed that, they'd be a lot happier. And she talked about how she had people to support her. That's always important. Find your tribe, find people you want to do things with, and follow through. It's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. 1,000%.
You've been listening to the Success Showcase. You can catch us every week at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, and wherever you find podcasts. Remember, make this your best week ever and make next week even better. We'll see you then.